Okay, well, it is time for us to get started. So let's hop to it. Um, if you would like to use the chat box to answer any questions or if you have any comments, you're more than welcome to. We'll be watching the chat, Miss Susanna and I. Um, and let's go ahead and get started. Today's webinar is on personal responsibilities and independence, which is something that even I, as adult, currently need to go over daily is my personal responsibilities and how to be independent. Um, and so that is what our webinar is on today. And so let's get started. All right, first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Miss Chambliss. I am currently one of the math teachers. Um, I'm a secondary math teacher, so I deal mostly with 6th through 12th grade. Some of your stuff I've graded, but currently my classes are 9th through 12th grade math. But I do hop into your accounts and I help Miss Mittler and Miss James and Dr. Howell and stuff. I help them grade from time to time. So some of your names look a little familiar to me, so I'm sure you've seen my name as well. Um, this is month 9 for me here at Enlightium. I have enjoyed it so much. I started in January, and it has been one of the biggest blessings in my life. Um, I'm able to work with all of you precious children. Y'all have no idea how happy y'all make me. Some of the notes that I've gotten back and feedback, y'all get me so tickled sometimes. Like y'all just make me laugh. Y'all have no idea. Um, I've really enjoyed it. It has just I was telling Miss Susanna earlier, I've wanted to be a teacher since I was in the 1st grade. I never wavered or changed from that. And in a time in my life when I was just like, Lord, like I need something else. Like I'm not happy in in my position anymore. Like this came into my lap. It just fell in my lap, and I have enjoyed it so much. And um it has made me love teaching just so much more. So I'm really excited that I get to work with all y'all and do stuff like this. This is so much fun. And so I'm excited about today, and I'm excited about the future and just getting to know all of you, and whether it's through this or just through helping you in math on a day-to-day basis. All right. So here is my opening question for all of you. And y'all can chat it in the chat box if you want to. It's, what do you think it means to be personally responsible and independent? And I'm going to give y'all a few seconds to answer. Um, let's see. What do you think it means to be personally responsible and independent? Do we have any guesses? I know some of you have something. Okay. Um, have self-control. That would be a great one. Do your work responsibly. That's also a great one. Anything else? Finish work, work hard, do a great job at your schoolwork. Very good, very good. Y'all pretty much y'all have it nailed down on being personally responsible. And independent would paying for your own nails. Yes, we need to be independent. We need to be able to pay for our own stuff. That is great. Yes. You obviously have a parent at home that has definitely taught you how to be independent. Um, keep track of your classes and time management. Those are all wonderful things. Like, love it. Love it, love it, love it. Being independent means having the ability to make decisions and take actions on your own without relying on others. That is also an awesome answer. Goodness, y'all are so smart. I love this. Okay, well, let's get into it. All of those were perfect answers. I'm so proud. This is going to make this so easy. All right, so let's talk about it. What is personal responsibility? The best way to figure that out is to go over the definition of it, which is taking ownership of one's actions and decisions. So I wrote some key points down here for us to help us understand what that means. And it means to understand the impact of your choices, which is like if you make a decision, whether it's a good decision or a bad decision, there's always something that's going to happen after that decision is made. And so, if you understand on the front end how that decision is going to impact your future or someone else's future, that would be being personally responsible. Also, that means that you'll accept consequences. Sometimes in life, we may make a bad decision and it's the right thing to do to, say, okay, well, yeah, maybe I did mess up on this. And so there are going to be consequences. And so I'm going to just take my consequence and I'm going to learn from it instead of, sulking or pouting or, some of you may get your phone taken away or game time taken away instead of, being upset about it and complaining, you say, okay, I'm going to be responsible for what I've done and I'm going to accept that consequence in my life. That's part of being personally responsible. And then also it's being reliable and trustworthy. People need to know that, hey, if I come to Jimmy and say, Jimmy, I need this, this, and this. Can you do that for me? Like, people need to know that you're responsible enough and that you're reliable enough on that end. Like, people need to know that. And they need to know that they can trust you, that they can come to you. Um, that's part of being personally responsible. Yes, JC, do you have a question or no? Maybe you just accidentally did that. It's okay if you do though, you can ask. Let's see. All right, moving on. So, what are the benefits to being personally responsible? Because you might be like, Miss Megan, I know that you're talking about all these taking accepting my consequences and being trustworthy and being responsible, but what does that do for me? Okay. Well, what that does for you is it helps you build trust with your peers and with your teachers. If somebody knows that, hey, um, Megan, you're responsible, I can trust you. I can come to you. I know that I can count on you. That is a benefit of that. That's nice to know that people can trust you and count on you. Yes, JC? Do you have a question? I don't know, you're muted, so I don't know if you have a question or not. I just see your hands raised. If it won't work, you can chat it in the box and I'll read it. All right. Also, the benefit of being personally responsible is it develops self-discipline. And that's something that we are going to need from now until you're 70 years old. We all need self-discipline. We all need to be able to say, okay, this is what I have to do, and this is how I'm going to do it, whether it's on your job, whether it's in your family, whether it's being a mother or a father or helping out in your church, like, got to develop our self discipline. And it also prepares you for future challenges. So, being personally responsible, it allows you to say, okay, well, I know that if I do this, then, I'm going to have to accept this consequence if I do that. Well, if you learn through that, then that's going to help you learn through those future challenges later on. If that kind of makes sense. I know that one's a little funky. Um, I'm just making sure through the chat. Okay, I think we're good. Let's keep going. Now, then we're going to talk more about personal responsibility in a minute too, but let's change gears for a second and let's talk about some independence. Okay? Independence is the ability to think and act without undue reliance on others. And so personal responsibility and independence, they both go hand in hand. Um, some key points to independence is making informed decisions, being self-reliant, and managing your own task. So this goes back to the making informed decisions. If you think about what you are going to do before you actually do it, that is an informed decision. That means back when we were talking about personal responsibility a minute ago, if you go and say, okay, if I do this, this may impact this person, or this may impact me in this way, or this may impact me in that way. That is being personally responsible and independent because you are making an informed decision. Hopefully that makes sense. To me, that's probably the number one thing that I want you to get out of this whole entire webinar is let's just think about things before we act upon them. And that way we can make the best decision for us and make the best decisions for others. All right, independent is being self-reliant. That means that when you're on a job and you're doing whatever task your boss has given you, they don't have to come back and say, okay, Caroline, did you do this, and this? Okay, well, we need this done or we need that done. Your boss knows that, hey, I'm going to be able to give Caroline whatever task I need to give Caroline, and she is going to get it done, and I will not have to worry about it. That's being independent. You don't have to have somebody be on top of you and constantly micromanage what you're doing. And being independent means managing your own tasks. That's the same thing. Like, nobody has to sit over the top of you and say, okay, Ian, did you do what you're supposed to do? Okay, Kaylee, now we got to move on to the next one. Like, being independent means that when your mother says, hey, Isabella, I need you to go clean your room, then mom doesn't have to come in there and say, okay, well, did you clean behind your dresser? Did you get under the bed? Oh, what about that closet? Like, you're self-reliant. You did all those things without anybody asking you, and you managed your own tasks. And again, without anybody having to tell you, okay, we have to do this one, and then this one, and then this one. You were able to do that on your own and by yourself. All right. Now, again, you may be asking, well, what is that going to do for me? I mean, really, it's going to encourage problem solving skills for you because if you're self reliant and you can manage your own task, then that means that when a problem comes, then you're going to say, okay, I have this problem. Let me think about it. Let me figure out how I'm going to get out of this problem or how I'm going to fix it. Same thing in math. I know, and of course I got to go to math because I'm a math teacher. But a lot of you will be like, "Oh my goodness, I don't even know how to solve this." Okay, well, let's be independent. Let's try to work through it. Show me the steps. Show me what you've done, and then we can go from there. It just helps you problem solve. And that's something that we need in everyday life because there's going to be times in life where things come up and we're going to be like, oh my gosh, what do I do about that? Well, hey, when I was younger, I learned my independence and I learned how to be personally responsible. So I have problem solving skills. I'm going to panic. Let me figure this out. And so you're able to figure that out. That's a great benefit. It also gives you self-confidence. When we're independent and you able to finish a task by yourself, no one made you do it, no one had to help you, boost you up. You get to puff your chest out a little bit. You get to say, "Ooh, look at me. I did this. I did that." Like, give yourself a pat on the back. Like, yes, self-confidence. We need it. And it also promotes personal growth. And so that may not be something that you're able to see just right off the bat, but when you have completed a task on your own that was really challenging and really, really hard, then later on, you're going to be able to say, man, I remember when I went through that. And oh my goodness, this helped me with this, this, and this later on. It may not be instant that you see that, but you're going to be able to. And someone asked, is that pride? Yeah, that could be considered a little bit of pride when you're talking about self-confidence. But as long as you don't let it be to where you're like, oh, hey, I did this and you didn't. Like, don't be that way about it. That would definitely be prideful. That would not be of Jesus. But if, it's okay to give yourself a little boost and a little self confidence and say, hey, I did that. That was me. Go Megan. Go me. If that makes sense. All right. Now, you may be saying, Miss Megan, you've told me all this stuff, but my goodness, how in the world am I supposed to get all this? I'm so glad you asked. How to develop personal responsibilities. I'm going to tell you, here's some strategies. The number one thing to do is to set some goals. That's probably the easiest way to be personally responsible. And like your classes, and it doesn't matter what class it is, you know that, hey, by this date, I need to have this finished. By that date, I need to have that project done. Don't need to wait too late. I need to make sure that I got this on my calendar. I got to make sure that I have this or I have that. I have one student who he is determined that he is going to be finished with all of his schoolwork by February. That is his goal because he wants an extended summer. Great for him. He is going to be responsible. He's going to make sure that he has everything done. He has calculated it all, and that's fantastic. He is being responsible for his own work, and I'm so proud of that. Do I really want him to have a 6 month summer? Not really. So, Miss Megan is trying to encourage him, like, hey, why don't we just, do the next grade? Like, so we don't forget our stuff. But that's beside the point. All right. Our next strategy is to prioritize tasks. So you need to make sure that the task that is most important, I'm a psycho. The task that is most important comes first. If you have a big project coming up, you probably need to prioritize that. You probably need to make sure that, hey, I don't wait till the very last second to research whatever it is that I need to research. I need to be working on this a little bit at a time to make sure that I have it finished by the due date. So we need to make sure that we prioritize our tasks. Then another way that we can develop personal responsibility is just to reflect on our actions and our outcomes. This is probably the biggest takeaway that you could probably get from this is when something happens, it doesn't always have to go in our favor. It could go either way. If you sit back and you think about it and you reflect on it and you're like, okay, I did this and this happened, good or bad. Okay, I did that and that happened, good or bad. How could I have made this better? How could I have changed this outcome? That is part of your personal responsibility because I'm sure you've heard it that history repeats itself. And so if we don't want the same thing to happen over and over and over again, then we need to go back and see and look and reflect on what actions we took and see what we need to do to change it. And that is our personal responsibility as far as that goes, if that makes sense. All right. Now, how to cultivate independence? Like, how do we gain independence? How do we instill that within ourselves? All right. Here's some strategies for it too. So glad you asked. I know y'all are all excited to find out. Practice decision making. That's as easy as saying, okay, I want a snack. I am hungry. I have this delicious apple over here, or I have that really good Hershey bar. Which one am I going to choose? Well, the Hershey bar may give me cavities, but it's still really good. It's still chocolate. But that apple, that's going to make me healthy. That's going to be better for my body. that's an independent decision we have to make. That's something that could be made in any ways. And all of you are saying Apple, yes, which Miss Megan is gonna just be honest and say that she would probably choose the Hershey bar, but that's okay. My my independence is not very good, obviously. I need to work on it. I need to reflect on my decisions that I've made in life. And I might not would be trying to lose 20 pounds right now. But that's part of my personal responsibility though. All right, another strategy is time management. Oh my goodness, I am the worst at time management. Um, this whole PowerPoint might have been made for just me. I don't know. But we have to learn, like, okay, um, like even if it's cleaning the house, like I need to be able to say, okay, I need to spend 20 minutes in this room and 20 minutes in that room and 20 minutes in that room. If if I don't do stuff like that, my ADD gets to kicking in and I'm like running around like a chicken with my head cut off. And nothing has really gotten accomplished, not nothing that I can see because I haven't managed my time wisely. Or it may be something as easy as, okay, well, have that paper due, but kind of want to watch Netflix right now. And then I'm rushing to get my paper finished because I have not managed my time wisely. Like, that's not good. And I'm so glad that a lot of you are on the same page with me and that it's not just me. All right. Another way to gain independence is to seek feedback and self assess. And this is probably, this and reflecting is probably the hardest things to do because, especially for someone like me, because someone asked if that was pride earlier. I am prideful in nature and it's not one of my best qualities. And so if I have to like go back and reassess myself or ask anybody like, "Hey, could I have done that better?" I don't like to do that. I don't like to hear that what I've done is wrong or what I've said is wrong or maybe I should have chose a different path. Like I personally just don't like that. But it's good for us. We need that. That's why it's so important for us to be involved like, within our church and stuff because we're held accountable. Accountability is a huge thing in that. Um and that helps us just become more independent and become more responsible when especially when you have others and your friends who you trust and who you consider independent and responsible. And that goes back to, choosing good friends and good people in our life. Um who can say, "Hey, maybe you need to change this," or "Hey, you need to work on that." Like, that's good for us. That helps us learn to be independent and responsible. And again, I will be the first to tell you that I do not like to do that, but it's what we're supposed to do, and it's so much more beneficial. Okay, we're almost finished. This is our last slide, I think. I'm so glad that y'all have made it this. I don't know, it may not be my last slide. It may be. I don't know. Okay, so here's some challenges and how we're going to overcome them. So, some common challenges we may face is procrastination. Yes, me, procrastinator, definitely me. Fear of failure, also me. I don't like to be wrong. I don't like to fail. I don't like it. And now this one I don't have as many issues with is peer pressure. Just others getting you to do things you don't necessarily want to do. Well, some ways that we can overcome those is for procrastination, break tasks into smaller steps or smaller little groups. That way, when you go to finish something, you're like, oh, okay, yes, I finished that. Now I can move on to the next one if they're in smaller chunks. If they're in big chunks, like the grading that I have to do sometimes, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to get this finished because I've waited too long. That'll exasperate you. So it's better to just put it into smaller little chunks. Fear of failure, a way to combat that is to encourage a growth mindset, which is just, being able to tell yourself, like, hey, you can do this. You are good enough. Um, you can do anything that you want to do. Don't be afraid. Like that's just, it's basically like a hyping yourself up in there. Um, I don't exactly know who exactly made it, but there is a great s'more on growth mindset that if any of you ever want to read, it's probably in most of y'all's lab binders, but I would be more than happy to send it out to you because it is fantastic. Like I think everybody should read about having a growth mindset. It's pretty amazing. And then to combat peer pressure would be to build yourself a supportive network. And that just goes back to, being involved with like-minded people, surround yourself with Christian people who, are going to support you um and make sure that hey, you're making good decisions and hey, we're doing things like we're supposed to do. And then you won't succumb to peer pressure. Yes, Diana, I will send that to you. I'll write your name down right now so that I make sure I don't forget your name. Very good, very good. All right, and this is our last slide. I got you too, Isabella. My last question for the day. Oh, Madeline. Okay, Madeline, thank you. My last question for the day, if I could get to it, I've got everything in my way. What are some ways you can show personal responsibility and independence in your daily life? So, what are things that you can do now that is going to help you be personally responsible and be independent? And y'all can use the chat for that. I got you too, Destiny. Y'all throw some things out there. What are some ideas? And I don't even know if did it stop sharing my screen? Okay, we all want the smart. I love it. All right, Miranda said she could clean her room. My Allie needs to listen to this webinar because she needs to clean her room. Get a planner so you can have better time management skills. Yes, a planner, awesome. That would help so much. Save some time to do catch up or go ahead. Very good. You could plan in advance. Make a plan for the day. Awesome, awesome. A calendar. Very good. Oh, help your mom clean. Yes, I need my children. See, I need my children to be on this Zoom with y'all because they need all the help they can get. We have too much. You have too much to say. That's funny. Get more sleep so you can work harder. Yes. Like, don't watch Netflix late at night. Don't play the video games late at night. That's right. Doing the dishes. Very good. Very good. Very good. On top of chores before anyone else tells you. Yes, don't be late. Go to your lesson. Set time for work and play, do your schoolwork. Those are all awesome. Y'all have definitely hit the nail on the head. Keeping up with task and schoolwork. Very good. Don't panic. That's right. Calm down, stay calm. Very good. I think y'all have more than mastered personal responsibility and independence. And this last one, be kind. I love that. Be kind is definitely, yes, be kind is it. For sure, for sure. Okay, well, that is all I have for y'all today. I have enjoyed it so much. Y'all are such a great group. Um, Hopefully we'll get to do this again sometime. I'll have to tell them that I would love to do this with y'all. Um, but if you ever need anything at all, you're always more than welcome to come find me, seek me out. I would be more than happy to help any of you at all in anything, whether it's math or something else, I don't mind. Um, and other than that, you all are free to go. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And hopefully you have a great week next week. And I will see all of you guys later.